This recording is focused on the requirements related to assessment. We will cover the intent behind the policies, the details of the requirements, and the reporting of this information in ECE Reporter. Finally, we'll share some valuable resources that will be helpful as you continue your work related to assessment. Start with the assessment requirements. The intent behind the policies related to assessment is to support strong partnerships with families, to promote best practices in assessment with young children, to build consistency across OEC programs and services, and to help the OEC plan and coordinate professional learning opportunities. The requirements related to assessment are addressed in state legislation. Specifically, the legislation requires that liaisons ensure programs engage in the assessment of young children in partnership with families at least twice a year. OEC General Policy A02 includes more specific information about this policy. General Policy A02 requires that your program use an assessment tool aligned to the Connecticut Early Learning and Development Standards, that you identify the tool used by your program, that you provide written information to families about your assessment processes so that they know what to expect. The information provided to families should include the assessment practices and tools used in your program, how the assessment is connected to the early learning standards and the curriculum model used in your program, and how and when you will partner with families during the assessment process. This graphic shows the intended connections between standards, curriculum, and assessment. Standards provide the goals for learning. In Connecticut, we have the Connecticut Early Learning and Development Standards. Your curriculum involves the experiences, the materials, the activities, the interactions, everything that supports children to make progress toward the goals outlined in the standards. The assessment then helps you understand children's progress toward those goals and helps you make adjustments to the curriculum. In addition to sharing information about the tools and processes in your program, you're required to communicate with families about the assessment results. The way you report the information should be aligned with the guidance provided for the tool you used, and you should include a family-friendly written summary. You should also provide an opportunity for families to meet to discuss their child's progress. Remember, the intent is to build strong partnerships with families. This means that you want to honor and respect families' priorities, language, and culture as you work together to build skills and promote children's learning. There are different types of screenings and assessments commonly used in early childhood programs. It is important that you use screening and assessment tools for the purposes that they were designed for. This requirement involves using a tool designed to inform your curriculum and instruction, and one that helps you to monitor the progress across the skills in the Connecticut Early Learning and Development Standards. Tools designed for this purpose may involve classroom observation, planning when and where to observe and document skills. They may involve planning some experiences that set the stage to observe a specific area of learning. And they may involve asking families for input about what they see at home. These methods for gathering information about young children's skills are developmentally appropriate and can usually be done as a part of daily routines and learning experiences. No matter what tool you are using, Staff should have training and support and should follow the guidelines outlined in the tools user manual or background information. Finally, we'll talk about reporting requirements. You will report on the assessment and developmental screening tools used by your program on a monthly basis as a part of completing the monthly report. This screenshot shows the submission that will be submitted initially and then verified every month. You will indicate the tool that is used for ongoing assessment and documentation of children's learning and development. You will also select any developmental screening tools used in this program, in your program. Developmental screening tools are listed here, and they are typically standardized short tools that help you to determine if further evaluation may be needed. Finally, you'll attest to the accuracy of the answers for the initial submission, and then we'll be able to verify the information in the coming months. With each of the monthly reports, you'll have the opportunity to update the information if any of your practices have changed. This screenshot shows where you will be able to see what you have reported on the monthly report submission. You will also report on your partnership with families, including the month and year when a summary of information is shared with families, when they are invited to discuss their child's learning and development, and whether a meeting was able to be arranged. These questions are automatically set to no, so you'll only need to go in and adjust these answers to yes when each of these actions are taken. Here is a screenshot of the questions you'll find related to partnering with families within the individual child records in ECE Reporter. This shows the 3 questions about providing a written summary of learning and development, inviting a family to meet to discuss their learning and development, and whether a meeting has been completed. As shown here, the answers are set to no, which means you'll only need to go in twice a year when these actions are taken and update the responses to yes. When you do that, the month and date will be registered for a yes response. Here are several resources related to standards, curriculum, and assessment that will be helpful in your work. There are links to written resources such as a white paper and infographic about early childhood screening and assessment, a form where you can request hard copies of some documents, including the Connecticut Early Learning and Development Standards, and you'll find a link to a flyer with free trainings related to standards, curriculum, and assessment. For family child care providers, remember that the staffed family child care networks serve as valuable resources related to this and other topics. Here are additional links to information on Early Start, our general policies, and contact information for OEC program managers. Thank you for all of your work to partner with families in supporting young children's learning and development.